This computer terminal provides full access to the L-Car's computer net.
Not too long ago, there was a time when the phrase cheap Chinese junk was the norm for anything dirt bike related, and that stereotype was accurate for the most part. The images of frames breaking, cheap welds, brittle plastics, stripped bolts, junk suspension, and poor performance came to your mind if you conjured up a Chinese bike in your head.
Prepare for warp speed, stand by, transwarp drive.
Transwarp at your command, sir.
Full power level.
Execute.
Full power level.
Transwarp drive, maximum velocity in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
But that all changed when GPX came on the scene. They came to the USA back in 2018 almost as prototypes.
Before the dark times, before the empire.
But the foundation for greatness and quality was there. These bikes had great engines, decent suspension, and the build quality was mostly there, with subsequent models nailing it as far as build quality and fine-tuning an already great platform. GPX year by year improved every single aspect of the bikes, with the factory taking input from its USA distributor, USA Motor Toys, and customer feedback. I've personally owned 3 models. First, the 2019 TSE 250R 2-stroke model. Second, the 21.5 FSE 300R fuel-injected 4-stroke model. And now, the 21.5 FSE 250E air-cooled 4-stroke model. And soon to be added to the stable, the brand new TSE 300R high performance 2-stroke model.
Nicely done.
So I think I have a pretty good idea on how the GPX brand stacks up. Having a mediocre YouTube channel and putting out vids on my rides and experiences on these bikes, I sometimes get comments that are just plain ignorant about the brand. For instance, if the Dirt Bike channel were to put out a positive video about KTM one day, about a bike I had never ridden, and I commented on his video, "My friend says KTM sucks. They are the worst bikes ever. The engines blow and people who ride them are jerks." He would rightly respond, "How do you know? You haven't ridden one. Buy my merch and win one so you can find out for yourself." The point is, don't knock it if you haven't even tried it. I have a thick skin and I honestly don't care if someone doesn't like GPX or any other bike. I usually get a text message once a week from one of the tire Nazis making fun of my Chinese bike. How long do I have to wait for a GPX? More than 10 minutes, I would imagine. Unfortunately for building a house, I only have GPX money, not KTM money. Put a GPX sticker on that truck, the girls will be lining up. Oh, if that were only true. Look, I get it, some people have reservations about the bikes being made in China, but I grew up in the 80s under Ronaldus Magnus, Hulk Hogan, and the Hart Foundation taking out the Bolsheviks. I hate commies, and they can suck a big one.
This is Commander Gilmore, U.S. Strategic Command, and General Borshevsky, Russian Intelligence.
Russian intelligence? Are you mad?
A lot's happened since you were frozen. The Cold War's over.
Well, finally those capitalist pigs will pay for their crimes, eh? Hey, comrades? Hey?
Austin, we won.
Oh, groovy, smashing. Yay, capitalism.
Well, Pandora's box is opened. If you haven't noticed, a lot of crap is made in China these days. But the one thing that irks me is people commenting like they actually know from experience, but they don't. Spouting off with no facts or even researching is just plain stupid. Here, I share some examples.
And now, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Jojo LaLauren says, "Don't buy Chinese motorcycles, they are crap. You will regret it after 6 months. The parts will break apart. Don't be fooled with the price. It's never a fantastic engine." Take a breath and add some periods in there next time, guy. He also writes, in real life scenario, America hates China but loves buying Chinese made products. Now who's a dummy? Elegantly put on your Chinese made iPhone, Jojo Laloran. Christopher Smithsonian writes, why don't you wear a communist Chinese flag shirt since you love the communist Chinese motorcycles so much and you're trying to push us to buy them? How much does the communist Chinese pay you?
Are you a commie? You better not be a commie. And you better not have any Chinese parts on you.
I assure you, they only pay me in fortune cookies, which looking back, I think I got gypped. Shibishank writes, GPX, stolen design with extremely cheap parts. They are about as reliable as a 20-year-old 4T Enduro that's had the guts flogged out of it. I don't even know what that means. He also lovingly recalls, at Elcar's ADV, a friend had one, bought secondhand with 7 hours on it, put an extra 40-odd hours on it, and then sold it really cheap. Plastic snap with little laydowns, exhaust cracks, pegs bent, pretty sure the front shocks were a little bent. Engine made a lot of funny noises and clunks and never ran right. They were the main concerns. Would have cost more to fix the problems at the local bike mechanics than to buy another, probably. You want a cheap, tough, and reliable bike? Look at SWM. First off, you're a fool for even riding that death trap, and second, none of that is true. If that were true, that would have been all over social media. You made up that garbage, and it's pretty obvious you did. Oh, he wasn't done. Lol, I'm sorry, but GPX ain't quality. I've seen engines blow, pegs snap off, and forks bend from little bumps. Oh my. Plus, I don't like the idea where 90% of the bike has been cloned, poorly, from KTM. You want a decent, cheap, but quality bike? Go for SWM. Cost a little more than GPX, but has just as good parts as all the other European motorcycles. I'm sure. Okay, aside from all that other BS, let's address the elephant in the room. Are GPX cloned copies? Yes, some of the parts are interchangeable, but not very many. The engines are proprietary and built in-house, and they are not clones. The suspension is built in-house and designed in-house, and they are not clones. But some of the parts are interchangeable, like brake pads and some of the plastics, but that does not make it a clone. Yes, I would say that the platform is based on a Husqvarna design, but honestly, I'm fine with that. It's a great platform, and it works. Now, I don't have enough information on the new 300 engine, but honestly, if it's a reliable engine, my pride is not worth $6,000. Eric informs me, especially with this virus going on, who wants to ride a Chinese bike anyways? Me. The market ain't as big as the Japanese bikes. This lousy company needs to get a grip and make their own bikes. Plus, they don't race them. Bernardo chimes in, Chinese bikes, no bueno. David Jones is not impressed. Not impressed, period. What's more disturbing is that you think you're doing people a service by slanging a Chinese theft MX for cheaper. It's about ethical principle here, and that is what's most disturbing, is you seem to think this okay, brah. Ghost ride that bike off a cliff, please. Well, brah, you get a participation trophy for 2 stupid comments in 1 sentence. You clearly don't know the difference between an enduro bike and an MX bike. Clearly you have no idea what you're talking about, as you can see a pattern here. And as for ghost riding off a cliff, you clearly seen me ride, so you know that's very much a possibility. No, I'm not saying that everyone who rides a GPX bike will walk away loving it, but at least it would be a valid opinion of their experience, rather than forming an opinion on something they never even seen, let alone ridden. After owning 3 of these models, I have a unique perspective on GPX ownership, and I share my honest experiences with my bikes. I have ridden all of my bikes in the toughest of conditions at events in the northeast of the USA with tight single track, insane hill climbs, greased up bowling ball boulder fields, brutal temperatures, and the bikes outperform the rider every time. I've even taken my bike all the way to Utah to ride with Everride in the Badlands. I've crashed, dropped, and beaten the snot out of all of them, and aside from the plastics breaking from losers on Kawasaki's brake checking me on hills and slamming into trees, they just keep going and going.
Keeps going and going and going and going. Nothing outlasts me. Oh! Yes!
Are GPX bikes perfect? Nope. I've had some issues here and there, and most are caused by my own stupidity. If there was an issue, GPX would stand behind their product and make it right. One of the greatest resources is the GPX Facebook group community. After years of being a part of that group, I see similar experiences, with the vast majority loving their bikes, and the ones who do have issues are sorted out relatively easily. If engines were blowing and frames breaking, then that would be evident all over that group. No dirt bike brand is perfect, and it seems like GPX gets extra scrutiny because they are the new guy and Chinese. But honestly, that's okay. If GPX wants to be considered a real player, then they have to go through the refining fire and the reputation has to be earned. Just recently, GPX lent Megs Brapp the demo unit of the new TSE 300R 2-stroke. The whole reason for it was for her to beat the tar out of it and give feedback, from which the factory actually made changes in the production due to her feedback. GPX requested that she held nothing back and be honest. Spoiler alert, she loves it. After all, I wouldn't keep buying these bikes and recommending them if I thought they were junk. So for those of you who are quick to dismiss GPX without even riding one, don't knock it until you try it. If you've enjoyed this mediocre YouTube video, don't forget to hit that like button and don't be a patak and subscribe. Until next time, live long and ride.